This episode is dedicated to Andrew Vanderhoop, August 16th, 1997 to January 30th, 2025. Friend, musician, great person. I miss you, Drew.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Noodles at Noon, the show that focuses on things that are not worth focusing on. I am your host, who hides his very unchiseled jaw behind a very unimpressive beard. Hi, it's me, Ben, and we are joined, as always, by our wonderful friend and co-host, a man who just lets his impressive jawline grace us in many ways. It's Noah.
I think that's the first time in the history of the podcast you've ever just started the podcast with no kind of countdown or warning. You just went for it.
I was feeling the vibe, so I just went straight into it, you know? I didn't think there was any preamble needed.
Yeah, I like it. It keeps me on my toes.
Uh-huh. And we are joined this week by our wonderful friend and special guest, a man who could hide his jawline behind a beard because he shaves 3 times a day. It's Michael.
You know, I've been thinking a lot about the vestibular system, and it's really made my head spin.
Which one is that? I don't get it.
Like 2 people will get it. It's fine. It's just, the thing that makes us realize how we're moving or not moving, or confused when we are moving and not moving, or the other way around. It's the things in your ears, the semicircular canals.
But are we ever really moving, or is it everything that's moving around us?
So I was playing pool at a friend's graduation party the other day, and I hit the cue ball, and the ball that I hit was moving very slowly, because I'm very bad at playing the billiards game. And I said, "Hold up, it's still moving." And they're like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Well, you see the Earth is moving around the sun. We're traveling at several thousands of miles per second right now,
Correct.
in fact. So the ball is moving across the table. It's just not very apparent. Actually, the whole room is moving. Actually, I'm moving. We are all moving here.
At the same rate of speed.
That's like the flat Earth people who are like, what's crazier to believe, that we're on a flat Earth or that we're moving through space at thousands of miles an hour? And it's like, oh, actually, maybe they're onto something. Maybe I am a flat earther.
I don't think we should.
I don't feel like I'm moving.
I don't think we should base science off of what's easier to believe.
Or what we feel.
That feels like a pretty slippery slope. Well, thank you all so much for tuning into Noodles at Noon. You can catch us anywhere podcasts are available, like our website, noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com. Michael left me out to dry.
or anywhere podcasts are available, like Apple Podcast, YouTube Podcast, or YouTube Music, I should say, Stitcher, Anchor, and coming to you live this week from...
I have it, Ben. I have it.
You
I've
do?
studied
Okay.
really hard. I've studied so hard in current events. We're coming to you on a Super Decker 747 donated by Qatar to the American Embassy.
That's where we're coming to you live from. We were part of the deal.
We came with the plane.
We did. The Qatarian government loves us so much that they just were like, hey, Donald, you can have this plane, obviously with no ulterior motives other than you have to listen to this podcast 24/7 while you're on it. It's
and
great.
Maybe we will change America. Maybe we will soften hearts.
Maybe. Hey, Donald, if you're listening, give us a call, man. Leave us a speak pipe at noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
I don't know that I'd want to air that.
And hey, we'll get lots of listeners. Well, thank you all again for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about this week.
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
Ben, you're in the show notes first.
Am I in the show notes first? I'll go first. It's obviously been a few weeks, couple months since we last recorded a podcast, and just on the last podcast we talked about me being newly engaged. Very exciting, very fun, very demure. Noah is. Did we?
I don't think
think you're engaged
Your last
yet.
update was escape room.
Yeah, I don't think you were engaged. You're engaged?
Hold up. I think we need to look into this because I'm pretty sure I was engaged on the last one.
I don't think so, bud.
We taped it on March 17th. Were you
Nope.
engaged then?
I was not engaged on March 17th. I'm engaged now. Not even I knew how long ago we recorded our last podcast because I thought I had been engaged by this point, but apparently not. No, Lydia, who's been on the podcast, and I are now engaged. We got engaged on a golf course. It was very beautiful. She said yes. Many.
Did she say yes?
She did say yes. I just said that. Were you not listening?
He did that Noah thing that happened when we were in your basement.
Oh,
Where,
yeah,
like,
where
you said
Michael would
something,
say
he's like,
something, and then
repeats
two
it
seconds later.
It's called what is it? Something listening.
Selective.
Comedic timing.
No. Anyway, so she said yes.
She did say yes. So we've been engaged since March 30th. Everybody who's receiving a save the date has received their save the date. So if anybody on this call doesn't have one yet, get wrecked.
And you're just waiting to give me mine in person, is that right?
You have yours. I gave you yours in person.
No, that wasn't for me.
Was that just for Jesse?
Yeah, it just said Jesse's name on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it actually had my parents' names on it.
Actually, yeah, it did. It didn't even have our names.
It turns out I had already given my parents one. And then I went to
the leftover.
I went to give them another one, and they were like, "We already have one." So then I just happened to be seeing Noah later that day, so I just gave them my parents. Michael, I've only seen you the one time, I believe, since we got engaged. Lydia and I, not me and you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you for clarifying.
And it was when I was moving, so I was a bit preoccupied.
Right.
So I forgot to give you.
Yeah.
Yours should be in the mail.
Okay. I will keep an eye out.
It will get there.
What's that address again? Can you make sure you got the address right?
Let me read it off. It was funny because Lydia was like, "Ben, do you know Michael's address?" And I was like, "I have no idea." So I just went on Google Maps
And put a pin.
and just went to your house and was like, "Oh, this is the address."
I do that all the time.
Your childhood address and my address share a lot of the same numbers, which
Really?
has made remembering your childhood address very easy.
Well,
because it's the same numbers.
Yeah, to that point, that is no longer my childhood address because it's actually my current address. Lydia and I have an apartment now that Lydia lives in, and I live with my parents rent-free. And about a week,
Yeah.
yep, that's my weekly update. About a week before I moved into my parents' house, I was talking to my mom about moving, and she said, "Well, you're not moving yet, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm moving this weekend. We booked a U-Haul." She's like, "Well, where are you going?" And I was like, "Your house." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't think that was happening yet. Okay." So, Mom, if you're still awake, thank you for letting me live in your house rent-free.
So Ben, I'd like to share with you what YouTube AI has said about your last update, since we have access to this now.
Okay.
Ben's update is mainly about his focus on wellness in bold this month, which includes
Yes.
both physical and mental self-care. He has been actively engaging recreational activities like escape rooms. He has participated in 4 escape rooms recently, finding them to be both fun and mentally stimulating. Golf. He's been golfing with his partner Lydia, enjoying the shared experience and the positive impact it has on his mood. He also mentioned that he cut his hand while working on his network-attached storage setup at home. Finally, he shared the exciting news that he's matched into residency, although the location has not been
Hang on.
revealed yet.
Wait,
It
that's
sounds
not
like some work.
that's not me.
Wow, Ben, you've been busy.
I have been busy.
So much has happened.
I didn't know you're a doctor.
That'd be the most, like, of all the horrible things I could do to Michael, if I, like, revealed that I had secretly also been attending medical school, like,
Oh my gosh.
at the same time as him, and then was like, guess what? I'm also graduating from medical school. I think that might actually kill Michael.
And you just didn't, like, it was so low key and
Yeah,
it
I
didn't
just, while doing my
stress you
full-time
out that you
job,
never had to mention it.
I also just did medical school. But yeah, so Noah and Michael were instrumental in helping Lydia and I move, i.e., they did all of the work. We're still unpacking boxes. I am missing all of my underwear and my reserves of bathwater. So if
They
you
were
guys...
on the ground, and we just shoved them in a hamper and put them in the U-Haul. Is what happened. So
That's fair. That's very
they made
fair.
it
I think they're still in the
somewhere. I
back
don't
of
know
my
where.
car, actually.
Possibly.
Well, actually, no. I do have Noah's jacket.
Oh,
you
yeah,
haven't
that's
recovered your jacket.
He hasn't
Still haven't
recovered his
recovered
jacket yet, so I still have that. I'll trade you my underwear for your jacket.
Okay, that's a deal.
Perfect. But it's been fun because one thing that I really enjoy doing that I did some of where I used to live, but it was much more difficult because I didn't have a full kitchen. But I really enjoy cooking. So it's been really fun. Like at work, I'll text Lydia and be like, what do you want for dinner? And she'll say what she wants for dinner. And then I'll go just buy the stuff. Last night we did our first like really big grocery run where we bought like $300 worth of groceries just to
Whoa.
fill out the apartment. It was 2 dozen
Only
eggs.
eggs.
Yeah. There it is. There's the egg joke.
There's the
Ha-ha.
egg joke.
There's
Call
the
us
egg
Donald.
Story.
joke. We got it in.
And then, yeah, so, and then I'm also the way that I am. So I never look up a recipe for what I'm cooking. I just kind of go, it's chicken with all these things. I know how to do that. And then I just make it up as I go. And it's a lot of fun. And Lydia hasn't complained yet. So I've really enjoyed getting back into cooking. Also, my new favorite hobby is wedding planning. We are getting married later this year in the month of September. I won't add any more information for those of us listening who would crash our wedding. Brian. Brian. Yeah, it's been fun. We have a venue. We got engaged on a golf course here in Fairbanks, Alaska, and we're going to get married on a golf course. Different golf course. But they have a really nice event space that we're going to use. And then 2 of my groomsmen are on the call right now.
Where?
What?
So let's have them join.
Come on out.
Come on out.
We have a small bone, literally a small bone to pick with you. The pants do not size down to our waist size because we have very small
Yeah, so
pelvises.
believe it or not, that's not a me issue or a pants issue.
Wow, that's harsh.
So Michael and I are doing like a fitness regime. We're aiming to gain 40 pounds each by the wedding.
That's why your chin is so chiseled.
Yeah.
Or we can get like a 50-inch waist and each of us wear a leg.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You go down the aisle
Can
together.
Michael and I wear the same pants? We walk down the aisle together, each in one pant leg.
That would be amazing.
Not hacky sack, potato sack race.
But we'll walk down with bridesmaids, right? So can they kind of support us on either side, like Michael and I in the middle in one pair of pants?
No, I'm going to make
Twin.
you guys walk down the aisle by yourself.
Okay.
Got it. Noted. Duly noted.
But yeah, no, Noah and Michael, groomsmen, and then friend of the show, Kimball, is the best man. My former roommate's Braden is a groomsman, and then Abby, Braden's wife, one of my best friends, is the groom's Abby. Because every groom needs an Abby to be by his side on his wedding day.
Wait, so Abby is the only member of your party that has not been on a podcast. So do we need to get her on a podcast before the wedding?
I think she would sooner not be in my wedding than appear on a podcast.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I've offered before, and she's just been like, what would I talk about? I'm like, anything you want. She's like, I don't want to talk about anything. Okay. You don't have to be on the podcast.
Right.
But it's great. It's going to be a fun time. I'm excited to talk about it more if I get the chance, and very much looking forward to it. There was another thing I was going to talk about, but I'll save it for later in the show because it's not exactly a game. It's more of just a talking point. and I don't.
It's more of a retirement announcement.
It's more
from
no
the podcast.
No, it's more of a rabbit hole that I would much rather have you guys get to your weekly updates before I go down it.
Okay.
Interesting. Good. Well, that'll build listener retention.
Aha.
You got to stick around for Ben's secret extra update.
So, not in the vein of last week's, 2 months ago's last episode, which I have dubbed Discount Radio Lab, to the chagrin of Noah in terms of the editing style. I will now hijack and talk about my update. About a month and a week ago, I went to Orlando to visit my friend Cole and to have a small graduation vacation, if you will. So with my loan money, I scavenged up and got on a plane that did have a USB port to Orlando. And there, Cole and I had a lot of fun. The first day, without Cole, he changed the plans. I hope he's listening because I still hold that against him. I went all the way to Kennedy Space Center. It was amazing. Ben's brother Andrew told me I would cry seeing the space shuttle. I was like, come on, really? Like, and I started weeping nearly when I saw the thing. It was so cool. Like, just so many cool things out there at Kennedy Space Center. Totally worth it. Took the upgraded bus tour. So good. As part of this, though, I did rent this car on Turo, and moments before I was supposed to leave on my vacation, and I mean like days before, my Turo got canceled. The first one I booked. The car was deemed in unsafe condition or whatever. So Turo said, yeah, you can't drive that. And
Why
I said,
you don't get the Cybertruck?
Yeah, so don't rent a Cybertruck on Turo is the point. And someone from Turo called me and helped me set up a new vehicle, which I got, and drove out there to Kennedy Space Center. Dropped it off at the airport the morning of the day we went to Universal. And then overnight, the next night, Cole and I are going out to go to Disney, look in the parking lot of our B&B, and the exact car is back in the exact B&B, which is really weird because, like, the hotel that I dropped it off at was, like, half an hour away. Like, it was not particularly close. So someone had the very similar, like, budget vacation rental plan. And it was just strange. It was the exact car. I knew the license plate. So that was weird. But I have a picture of me that I will put on noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
With the car?
With the car. I took a picture of it when it boomeranged back to me. But one of my favorite moments from Universal Studios, and oh my gosh, if you go to Orlando, Universal is one, cheaper than Disney. Two, the thrill rides at Islands of Adventure are top notch. They were amazing. One of my favorite experiences, though, was when we were pulling up, the first thing Cole says to me when we enter the park is like, hey, do you care about Harry Potter? And I was like, it's not really. And before I finished that sentence, he's like, yeah, good, I don't either. Like, we don't need to waste time in there. Because Harry Potter Land at Islands of Adventure in Florida is like maybe a third of the entire park. Like, it's huge. It's a big attraction for them for sure. So we're like, okay, we can skip that. So we start the day, get on the Hulk, I get my head bashed around, my vestibular system doesn't know what direction is up and down. Like, I could not walk straight after that ride. I nearly grayed out on that ride as well. That's a different tale for a different time. Ride some serious coasters. We got on the Velocicoaster. It's like 70 miles an hour at one point. And then eventually we neander over toward Harry Potter world because Cole insists that I need a butterbeer, which is a $9. I've had too many before this, I guess. It's a $9 butterscotch and cream soda mixture, basically, which should not be that much, but it is. So
it's not even alcoholic?
They're not. I don't think they even
and it's
make it
$9?
It's $9.
That's crazy.
Either it was 8 or 9.
Have you been to like an amusement park? No, you've been to.
I've never been to Universal.
It's fraud. It's fraud.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
I can't pull up the receipt quickly enough. But anyway, it was expensive. So we had that. We got on the Hagrid's Magical Mystical Motorbike Adventure, which is one of the newer coasters that came out, I think, just before COVID 2019. Goes super fast. And that's where we took advantage of the single rider line, which Ben taught us about in a previous podcast. And the ride broke down. So we saved 0 time in the single rider line, is my point. Because we were still waiting for 110 minutes. And I don't know, maybe it was slightly longer in the other line, but it really did not seem like we were moving for a really long time. We had no idea why not. But that was cool. So in Harry Potter Land, kind of near the tail end of the day, like sunset is kind of coming, we walk way to the far side of Harry Potter Land. And in Harry Potter Land, there's this ride, and I do not recall the name, but I think it's like Flight of the Gryffindor or something. I'm trying to search. Flight of the Griffin.
Yeah.
Flight of the Gryffindor. Flight of the Griffin. Flight of the Hippogriff.
Hippogriff.
Flight
I
of
was
the
gonna.
Hippogriff.
I was gonna say.
I don't know what
Flight
I'm
of the
saying.
Bumblebee?
I do
A
not-
Gryffindor is just a dude.
Thank you. I don't know what the words I am uttering. But we see this ride, and let me explain the way it's situated as a train where you're 2x2, and there's probably like 8 trains. It's kind of like a kiddie ride. It's over there. It's not super fast, not super scary. Cole and I go to find one of the free lockers to put our stuff in because Universal is amazing that they give you a free locker for kind of the more serious rides or anything that goes with any amount of speed. Like they'll make you put your stuff away. We go find the locker, put the stuff in, and we start heading toward the castle because I'm like, okay, this is where the queue is. We get into the castle, we're walking through. There's a part where like holographic Harry, Hermione, and Robert, what's his name? Ronald show up.
Ronald?
They show up like, yeah, I don't know, like 40 feet away from you, kind of at the top of something, so you can't really tell it's holographic. But when they show up, I go, Harry, oh my gosh, like very sarcastic, like faking it. And Cole and I like kind of, okay, that's funny, Michael. Yeah, whatever. Keep walking. And behind us, this group of like 6 kids, and they're not that young, but they're like, Harry, oh my gosh.
And they were not joking. I take it.
Not joking. So Cole turns to me after that and he's like, kids, when we did it, we were joking. like, this is a joke. Eventually, as we wander through the queue, which was only like 15 minutes or less, we get up to the ride vehicles, and I'm like, this is interesting. We're really deep in a castle to be getting on that train situation, and our seats are side by side. So how do we get outside from here, and how do we get on that? Well, turns out it's the wrong ride, which I didn't realize until about 2 minutes into it, when I'm on a broomstick flying around getting haunted by dementors, and one looked me straight in the eyes and shined a light in my face. I saw the angel of death nearly touch me, and
Whoa.
it was
That's what they do.
truly haunting is what that was. But the fact I got us in the queue for the wrong ride, I was just laughing my head off the entire ride, and it's scary. If you've never been on this Harry Potter and the Flight of the Forbidden Journey or whatever it's called, spoiler alert, it's dark and it's scary. There's big spiders. There's, spoiler alert, dementors that try to steal your soul. And I nearly cried. But then we got off of it and hopped right back on the one that we actually wanted to be on. And all said and done, we probably spent like a third of our day in Harry Potter Land, even though we didn't want to. But highlight for sure, the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. It's only been open like 4 years. It was so fast. It was so smooth. The queue was really long. We didn't really know how to use the single rider line there. We abused it at Disney and rode Rise of the Resistance 4 times in one day, which was awesome. But it's a good time. And there were some people making out in the single rider line, and I told Cole, I don't think you can do that in this line.
I think that defeats the
Wait.
purpose of the single rider line.
I do too.
Yeah.
I would like to launch a petition against that at Universal for people.
Maybe they just really hit it off.
Oh,
You have to take a they started as singles
Yeah.
at the beginning of the line.
It's like a Hallmark Christmas movie. They entered the single rider line as singles, but they left the ride.
They board the ride.
They
as a
board the
pair.
ride with partners for life.
The lawsuit that followed would shock them. Well, that sounds like a good time. Okay, if you have to pick between Disney or Universal, is Universal your pick? I know you said it's cheaper and the rides are like a little more intense, but like if you could only do one for the rest of your life, which would you choose?
See, well, while I'm young, I feel like Universal's the go-to answer because, like, I can take the physical beating of nearly graying out on the Hulk, getting launched around at like 5G. But the thing is, like, if I have infinite riches, Disney, and I would just live in Galaxy's Edge. Like, I would just not leave their planet, as they called it, which was very confusing to me. They're like, yeah, we don't have that on our planet. I'm like, Earth? Like, come on.
Come on.
Anaheim?
We're in Florida.
Anaheim. Yeah, so Star Wars World was really awesome. I think we could have you could legitimately spend all day there, just in that world. But again, I really enjoyed the the actual thrill rides that you get at Universal that you don't really get at Disney. At least at that park that we went to at Hollywood Studios.
I may
There's
have
only like
asked,
one ride.
I may have asked you this before. Have you been to California Adventure when you went to Disney?
I think as a kid, but I don't really remember it if I have.
Because they have more of like the thrill rides.
The Incredicoaster.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good. Yeah, I did. I was excited for that park. I went in 2019, I think. And we like immediately beeline to the Incredicoaster because it was like right when the park opened, so the line was short. We did it 4 times. I tweaked my neck on the 4th time, and then I could like barely ride anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah. He's never been the same.
Yeah. It was like I just blew it immediately, like the very first ride. I was like, well, I'm in pain for the rest of the day.
Was that when you went with your sister, or was that?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, at the ripe old age of 22, I was getting too old for those rides.
My brother loves the Incredicoaster because they spray cookie scent at you at the start of the ride.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, that might be a new thing that they added after the second Incredibles.
Minor spoiler.
Maybe.
There's a really cool part of the Jurassic World queue where you like walk by some real life raptors. They're real. They extracted their DNA from mosquitoes in amber.
It would be
allegedly,
Florida that would do that.
Yeah, no kidding. But allegedly, the creative, the non-Imagineers created a scent of what Velociraptor would smell like. And I watched a documentary about this before I went because I was very excited. And I smell nothing except sweaty kids. So I don't know what dinosaur Velociraptor smells like. But apparently there's like hints of blood in the smell that they made because they're predators, so it should be like metallic smelling. I smelled nothing.
Is that the same scientist that did the mummy vocal cord recreation?
Oh.
This is what the mummy would sound like.
It sounds to me like those scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they never stopped to think of whether or not they should.
That's right.
I've heard that. I have heard that before.
Yeah, that's.
Well, is that the last of your updates, Michael? What is KSC?
Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a new like Kentucky
Side Chicken.
Kentucky Side Chicken.
Kentucky Side Chick.
Oh,
Michael's got a Kentucky Side Chick. Tell us about that, Michael. Well, I have a bunch of different mini stories.
It looks like it.
I'm just gonna pick 2 or 3.
Much.
One of these, I'll start with the one that involves Michael because we were driving home a couple weeks ago, and Michael really wanted to drive my car. Many people that have been on this podcast have tried to drive stick in my car. I think maybe I just shouldn't do this because the last time I taught someone stick in my car was when Brian got us into like a street race with some BMW in our neighborhood. But this one might top that. Michael's driving us home, doing very well, by the way. He's like a very good, very confident, doing very well. And we get to like the major intersection by our house, and I'm in the passenger seat, and I look over, and I see a guy getting tased on the side of the road. I see like there's just a man, and he's reaching for something on the ground. I don't know if it's a weapon or what, but there's a police officer a few feet away, and the officer pulls out his taser and tases the guy. And the guy's on the ground. And as this is happening, there's like police cars coming up behind us with the sirens blaring, and the light turns green, and Michael's trying to go, but he stalls the car like 2 or 3 times because there's cops all around. And I noticed there's a guy standing like just a passerby standing about 10, 20 feet back from this man that's getting tased. And he looks kind of familiar. And I'm like squinting and looking out the window, and I realize, oh, that's the guy that married Jesse and I.
Oh.
And Ben, who knows this person, you're going to be like, yeah, that sounds like the kind of place he would be.
Yeah.
And when Noah said this, I thought that he was the officer that was tasing? Because I have no
No.
idea about the backstory of this person. No, it's
No,
the
he was
guy,
just standing
that guy
there
on
watching.
the truck on the other side, just standing there watching.
But yeah, I was like, it's because I remember thinking like, oh, it's strange that there's like this guy standing here, and then looking closer, I was like, oh, I know him. Oh,
That
he was
tracks.
at our wedding.
I know him. Oh, okay.
And then yeah, my other story happened today. So this is my recent story. Um, Jesse and I got a new dishwasher like 6 months ago, not long ago, and it was a very big, exciting new purchase. I don't know how old our last dishwasher was, but it finally died, and we didn't really like it, so we just like got a new one. And 6 months in, it decided to stop working, and we like it's one of those where all the buttons are on the top. Like as soon as you close the
Yes,
dishwasher,
yes.
you can't see any of the buttons. So you like hit the start button and you close it and it latches, and then like 2 seconds later it starts going, and it just stopped doing that a few days ago. And Jesse noticed it, and then I tried to do it, and we like messed with it a little bit and tried all the things that Google's AI told us to do,
Mansplain
which
to
was
her
not
how a
helpful.
dishwasher works. Okay, so it
Yeah,
has a pre-wash and it has a main fill, and then the soap actually comes out with a main fill. That way you don't waste your soap on the thing.
Yeah. I tried to mansplain to her,
Hang
teach
on,
her
wait.
how dishwashers
Why
work.
does Michael know so much about how dishwashers work? The top of his head.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Best video on YouTube is from Technology Connections about you're using your dishwasher wrong. It will change your
Ooh.
life. In fact, it'll be on the show notes, noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
I can say this because no one knows. I can kind of remember how to access the website, so I will.
We'll see if Michael can figure it out.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But anyway, so it was still under warranty, thankfully. So they sent some guy out to our house today, and he comes in, and like an hour before he got here, I made this discovery that if I pulled both of the racks out, like I pulled the racks out so he wouldn't have to deal with the dishes, and then it starts just fine. Like if there's no racks or dishes in it, it starts fine.
Maybe a
was
little
like, well,
Sean
maybe-
Connery is in there causing a problem. Dishes, Sean Connery.
Dish of Sean Connery.
Okay.
So I like.
Can I
Sorry,
guess
Ben.
what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Does your dishwasher, is it like, a washing machine that has like a sensor thing
See,
on
now
it?
this
And-
was my thought.
Okay. Oh, okay. At least we're thinking the same way of like when there's stuff in it, it like the sensors, something's tripped up with the sensors and it just doesn't run.
Yeah, that was my thought. So we played with like we put the racks back in, it wouldn't start again. We tried pulling like the heavy plates out and trying that again. Nothing worked. So we've tried. We feel like we've put a fair amount of effort into trying to fix this dishwasher. So the repairman shows up today, and he seemed like maybe not in the best of moods. He I think he was like probably Ukrainian. And he
Whoa,
came
okay.
in. I told him,
I mean, if there's
relevant?
anybody that would have a reason to not be in a good mood.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, go on.
he like comes in. I explained to him the problem, and he looks at it, and he pulls out. There's this one like Tupperware lid that was blocking like the seal from closing. He just like repositions it, presses the button, closes the dishwasher. It immediately starts, and he just looks at me with this deadpan face. Like, really?
That'll be $400.
And then like to defend myself, I was like, well, no, try this. Like I stopped it and I like reset it and canceled it and started again, and I was trying to do it and it just kept working. And he like did not say more than 5 words to me the entire time he was in our house.
You woke me up at 4 a.m. for this.
He was in and out in about 5 minutes. Fortunately, it didn't cost anything because it was under warranty, but he was like,
Improper
Quite
Tupperware
upset.
lid placement is covered under warranty.
I guess, I don't know. He didn't charge me, so.
He took pity on you.
This poor kid.
Oh no.
So I'm sure I looked like the dumbest guy he's ever met. Didn't try to move the Tupperware lid. So anyway, that was my
if you took out the
embarrassment for the
racks-
day.
If you took out the racks, how hidden was his Tupperware lid?
Right in front. very first dish you see when you open the dishwasher.
But yeah, you took out the racks, and it sealed when you closed it. You put the racks back in. The Tupperware is still
Okay.
right where
Yeah.
it was.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, a little bit of humility in my day. Like some days I feel really good about myself, solving a lot of problems and fixing a lot of code, and then other days I can't move a Tupperware lid and I break my whole dishwasher and have to call somebody from the local big city to come move a Tupperware lid for me.
Everyone's typing in the show notes. Three people were just typing in the show notes at once, which never happens.
It's the show notes say 37 minutes, Ben drops mic, Michael notices, and then 37:05, Michael put mic crackle.
I thought it was less violent than you dropping the microphone.
It wasn't really the microphone, it was the little receiver fell off my desk and onto my very softly carpeted floor.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So it's
I'm
fine.
glad it's softly carpeted.
Yeah.
But now your downstairs neighbors are mad.
I met my downstairs neighbor. His name's Eric. He plays the guitar.
Do you know that because he told you, or do you know that because you hear it every night?
His name's Eric, and his girlfriend's name is Brooke, and they yell really loudly. No,
Oh gosh.
no, I'm kidding. His name's Eric. I met him in the hallway. Lydia and I did. He was holding a guitar case, so we struck up a conversation about playing the guitar, and he was on his way to a open mic night in the neighborhood
Whoa.
yesterday. So I need to, well, when I see him again, ask him how the open night mic white.
I'm sorry. Open night.
So this
light?
has been happening increasingly more and more, where I just cannot complete a sentence
Oh yeah.
without stumbling over my words. And when it happens at work, it's usually when I'm about to go down the stairs and I'm just saying something to someone. And anytime it happens, I just go down the stairs and then try again when I come back up the stairs.
You just fall down the stairs.
Or sometimes I'll do that. Yeah.
This is open night light.
This is my interpretation of a vegetarian.
Because you just ate every stair on the way
Because
down.
all I do is eat stairs.
He just walks down the stairs, walks out the door, and never comes back.
Speaking of unfinished weekly updates, I think last episode was match week, and we knew that I matched, but not where. Without dropping a city, I will reveal that I will be moving to Arizona. Now, if you have been unfortunate enough to have met me in the last few weeks, Eric, you know exactly where I'm going, but it'll be into Arizona in the desert. And I mean like the desert. So that is coming up soon.
Congratulations, Michael.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
It's
That's
very
super
exciting.
exciting.
We're very excited for you. I have some empty cardboard boxes for you to live in.
Please, okay.
I have
believe-
your graduation present on my desk right here, just off camera.
Oh, hold it
Michael,
up.
close your eyes, and Noah, hold it up. I want to make sure we spent the same amount of money.
Okay. Well, this is part of it, but then this is
Aw.
the fun part. Okay, you can look now, Michael.
I looked away.
Yeah. So what's next for you, Michael? Tell us what the next few weeks look like, if you
Well, before this podcast even comes out, I graduated 2 days before. And then a
Yay!
week from the podcast coming out, I move. So
can. He's gone.
stuff is happening really quick, and it's very stressful. But don't worry, I'll be back because my friend from school is getting married the first week of June. So I think I'm just going to end up kind of staying the first week of June, maybe first week and a half of June, and then going back.
And then your other friend from school gets married.
Yes.
Then my
Different
friend
school.
from elementary school that stole my lunchbox is getting married a little bit later in the year.
That is misleading. It was
okay,
middle
you brought it
school.
back.
It was middle school when I stole your lunchbox, not elementary school.
That was misleading. I did that, but
That was misleading. I
brought it
wasn't
back.
I wasn't in elementary school. Also, I put Michael's lunchbox in the lunchbox return section of our school's cafeteria. So I don't know if stealing is the right term. I took it
As
from
long as you put it back.
the cafeteria table to the place where you put lunchboxes.
What's funny is I never used to put my lunchbox there, so that's
That's
why
true.
that became a whole
He would take it
problem.
back to his locker. But we're all good now. Clearly, we're both over it.
Clearly.
I spent 3 years in juvie because of you, Michael.
All because of, but it's nice that you have a podcast now. Like, that's good restorative friendship there.
That is. Do we have any reviews or feedback to discuss?
Okay, reviews and feedback. None. But we did have something we wanted to talk about, with obviously a lot of life change on behalf of 2 out of 3 of your hosts and a dishwasher problem that may have broken Noah permanently. We don't know. But lots of life changes.
He'll never
lots
recover.
Of moving. Noah may never financially recover from his free visit, but with all these big changes, getting settled into new routines, new chapters of life, we are not confident when the next episode will be. If we're very aggressive, maybe early June we could record. Don't know if that will happen. Probably not. So I think, though, once I'm settled into a routine and we know what it looks like and what the weeks look like, that we can definitely find a time to keep this going in the future, like every month maybe. Weekly might be too challenging, but maybe monthly would be reasonable for us to do. So we don't know what that looks like, but as our faithful listeners who contribute with your sleep and and disinterest sometimes, we just wanted to mention that way, if the show disappears completely, at least we can say I told you so.
Exactly.
So Michael's taking some time off to, move, adjust to his new life, his new work. Ben's taking some time off to adjust to his new wife and his new life. And I'm taking some time off because I really just want to spend more time with my dishwasher.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying new wife as opposed to
the old wife.
The old wife, who shall not be
named. He never
named.
talked about her on the show, but...
Lydia is staring at me from across the room.
Oh, yeah, because she can only hear your side of the conversation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Michael, what weird thing can we force Ben to say in response to something we say that
it's
sounds
interesting
really
because
weird?
he did ask you about what I just highlighted in the show notes, but I don't know if she was around.
I don't think she heard that.
Okay.
I don't know if she heard me talk about that.
That would have been a good one, I think.
Michael is very kindly prepared a game for us tonight. But before we get to that game, I want to address what I talked about at the beginning of the show in my weekly update, which is the rabbit hole. My parents, who I now live with, have had to deal with me going down this rabbit hole. Lydia has had to deal with me going down this rabbit hole. My coworkers have had to deal with me going down this rabbit hole. My ADHD, hyperfixating on a topic. And I can't think about, I can think about other things, but it's like, it comes up more often than normal. And that is, I can't quite handle or deal with the fact that the Pope is American. I don't, I genuinely, it's not like a political thing. It's not a religious thing. There's footage of him at Chicago White Sox games thing, and I'm like, I don't like that. That doesn't feel very popal to me. I don't. And so, like, this kind of goes back to, like, I had made a joke to my coworkers about, like, on YouTube, every time I open it up, there's 5 different live streams of just the chimney outside the Sistine Chapel when they were doing the conclave. And I was saying, I feel like that's a bit ridiculous. Like, I understand people would want to watch that, but do we need like 5 different live streams of different angles of
5 different angles
of this chimney that is only used twice a day, and it does what every other chimney does, which is smoke. So I got to work one morning and I put it on the TV, put on one of those live streams, just kind of as a goofy haha. And it happened to be like 5 minutes before the Pope was picked. So it was playing on the TV when the white smoke came out. And I was sitting in my office and I heard cheering, and I like wheeled out into the little like meeting area where the TV is. And I was like, I think they just picked a new Pope. And then from that point on, I had like one of the live streams pulled up with like people talking about like, oh, what does this mean? How does this all work? And then when the Pope came out, they're like, it's the first Pope from America or from the United States. And from then on, I've just been like, he like went to pizza shops. Like the pizza shop in
He ate at McDonald's.
he's from Chicago. Like the pizza shop that he frequented renamed their pepperoni pizza the Poperoni pizza after the Pope. And I'm like, this is so weird. And then I saw in the news that was like, oh, we're going to interview the Pope's brother. And I was like, I don't think we're allowed to do that. I don't think we're allowed to know who the Pope's brother is. That's not
true.
a real thing, right?
That's a super American construct, right?
And but then they're like, okay, let's play this interview with the Pope's brother, and he's just in like suburban Illinois.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know exactly what video you're talking about. Or I mean, it was all day long, but
yeah. And then like they found the Major League Baseball found footage of him at the 2005 World Series, just in the crowd wearing a White Sox jersey. And my poor parents and my poor Lydia, I've always been like, anytime something new about like the Pope being American would come out, I'd just be like, isn't this the weirdest thing you've ever seen? And my dad's just like, well, he wasn't the Pope then. Like he was just Robert, Robert, not the Pope, I think is what his full name was.
Yeah. Very, very telling about his future.
Exactly. But I don't know if you guys experienced this at all or have applied any thought, but it was just a weird rabbit hole this past week of just me not being able to come to terms with the Pope being from the United States.
I did enjoy the very slow drip of information of like as soon as the press got a name, they're like, "Oh, here's a tweet that he said like months ago," and like, "Oh, here's his voting records, and here's we don't know what like who he voted for, but we know he voted in these elections and these primaries, and oh, this is his brother, and like." Oh, he's a White Sox fan, not a Cubs fan. It's just like, and each one of those was like its own separate article as someone found. Like, you can just picture a bunch of journalists as soon as they got that name, just Googling, trying to figure out every last little detail about this guy and get it out before anyone else did.
Yeah, because I feel like from my limited experience with knowing about the Pope, it always seemed like such a like mystical, spiritual process and thing, and he's such a mystical, spiritual, kind of mysterious figure. And then this is just like, this is Robert. Here's his brother,
Robert.
And like his brother, he had another brother that lives in Florida who like called him when he was being interviewed, and he answered and was just like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "That's the Pope." This is weird, right?
Hey, your brother's the Pope now.
Exactly. But yeah, that's kind of that was my rabbit hole.
I'll admit that I didn't know there was a whole process for them choosing their Pope name. Like that was just something I was blind to. Like I didn't know that was a thing. So that was interesting. I also heard that he wasn't someone that people in the know, like kind of in the know, really projected.
No,
he didn't
not
win
at
the
all.
electoral vote in the projection, but he won in the popular vote. So you know,
Exactly. I've watched a lot of videos on like how the Pope gets picked and like trends with who becomes Pope, all that stuff. It's been very fascinating. But now I'll just go back to my normal everyday life of not really ever
your normal
thinking
Protestant
about the
life.
Yeah.
well, thank you for your rabbit hole. Speaking of
You're
rabbit
welcome.
holes,
Speaking
Speaking of holes,
okay.
Michael, take it away.
And that's staying in. All right, so today's game, we have brought to you one game in the effort of trying to not make the show 2 hours long, is What's the Deal With? You guys remember this game? Noah, you remember this game?
No?
I
don't think we've done this before.
I remember this game because I'm the one that invented it. So
Dang it. Hey, Ben, do you remember this game?
I know the rules to this game.
What's the deal with? This is a game where you tell me what you think the deal is with something. I'm also having problems speaking, I think. Today, these are all selections from the Journal of the American Medical Association, the JAMA.
Ah.
JAMA, pump up the JAMA. And I will read out a word or a short phrase, and you guys tell me what you think is going on in the world of medicine. That's your hint. It's going on in the world of medicine with the topic. So first, I have 4 rounds planned, so we'll just see what happens. But first, let's start with Ben. Smell. Smell. Can I say it a third time for you? Smell.
Smell.
Smile?
What's going on with smell?
Oh, that's all I get. Sweet. Because as we know, nothing in the world of medicine ever smells. Let's think. Okay, can I ask a clarifying question?
I think I should offer maybe a small clarifying question, so go ahead.
Yeah, and this clarifying question applies to me and to Noah, so we both get the benefit of knowing this information. When you say the world of medicine, you're talking about like all sorts of medical stuff, like procedures or diseases. It's not just like, I have medicine in the medicine cabinet.
Correct. This
Gotcha.
is generally not surgery, though. That surgeons have their own journal. The medicine people read the medicine journal, meaning all things pertaining to medicine, not medication, but medicine.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you.
Smell.
Smell. I'm going to say that people are, or there's an article in this that talks about the importance of how urine smells and what it could mean about your health and whether or not you've eaten asparagus lately.
All right.
I think we as a humanity are evolving, constantly, slowly, but more quickly lately because of all the weird
5G.
stuff in our food.
Yep.
Yeah, the 5G, the dyes in our food, the recognition that we need to adapt to the rapidly warming universe. I think scientists are discovering that we're beginning to smell new smells, and that our nasal palates, if you will, are growing more and more refined. And the side effect of this is that we're able to detect a lot more bad smells now, whereas our ancestors were able to deal with the manure and the smells of the earth and just not really notice. Now we are smelling things much more strongly, and that's a burden that we're going to have to bear.
All right. So to recap, Ben says, importance of how urine smells reflects on your health. Have you had asparagus lately? Noah says red 40 is changing the way we smell, particularly stronger. I will give a point to Ben because a Swedish study recently with greater than 2,500 participants, greater than 72 years old, smelled a variety of scents from lemon to garlic to coffee, and the groups with more incorrect answers had a nearly 70% increased relative risk of all-cause mortality, meaning died, then the norm osmic, I love this, norm osmic group. Osmic means scent, norm means normal, so the normal smelling group. So I will give that to Ben, and they hypothesize that the reason why is because of frailty and safety, like if you can't smell smoke, you don't know there's a fire, and you may die. So I'm going to give it to Ben, that we have kind of established maybe a link between how well or how poorly you actually smell and osmic, the people that smelled worse had worse outcomes. And good news for you all is I brought some of my own personal sweaty socks for you to smell, and you can see how well you do.
So it's interesting we talk about this because you couldn't smell the velociraptors.
Yes.
Oh no!
Oh no, Michael!
It's over. It's okay though. I've got plenty of life to live. It's fine.
You do.
And again, articles will be on noodlespodcast.com.
Noodlespodcast.com.
Don't know if
We
they're
cite
paywall.
our
Noah,
sources here.
what is up with the Ukraine, other than dishwasher salesmen?
Well, yeah, they have dishwasher repairmen, and they don't like me. Okay, well, Ukraine, that's not a country that's in the news very often. I don't know much about it. So, I want to be sensitive here. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the world of Ukraine that I can make light of. And as we all know, Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, was the voice of the Ukrainian dub of Paddington in Paddington 2.
Mhm.
And they have they have discovered a new type of disease in Ukraine, and they are calling it Paddington's disease after the bear and the president.
What does the disease affect?
The disease affects the heart because
Okay.
everyone looks at Paddington and they just love it with their whole heart.
New disease called Paddington's disease, and it affects the heart. Ben, what do you think is going on in the Ukraine in medicine?
War, man.
War, man. Okay.
No. Well, yes, but I think that in spite of all of the war-torn regions and all of the invasions that have occurred in Ukraine, there has still been the ability for persistence in scientific discovery and discovering, like Noah said, potentially new diseases, but also potentially new medicines and new ways of treating people that may have been affected by the war. And I think there has been the discovery of a new medicine and or treatment to various asthmatic related diseases like asthma.
Okay. You guys made it tough. So the prompt was the Ukraine. Noah said new disease called Paddington disease. It affects the heart. Ben said, quote, war man, end quote. Discovery of new medication effective treatments for asthma and that sort of thing. The answer, and we will have a small fight afterward, is Dr. Rudenko has been treating something called obstructive HCM, which I think Gizmo may have had. And he's been treating it with surgery. It's a heart disease since 2016. And he's been at the Amasov Institute in Kiev in spite of being awoken by bombs multiple times in the night. And he's just remained there in Kiev, even in the midst of war. Out of 868, it's called septal myectomy, which means cutting some of the muscle out of the septum of the heart. 380 have been performed during conditions of war. They've had emergency generators and no reported loss of ventilation during these surgeries because they've had emergency generators. So this is troubling to me, and maybe each of you will get a point, but Noah said it's a new disease that affects the heart. This guy's treating a heart problem. Ben said, war man, and also treatments, but he did say for asthma. If
Okay.
you guys are cool with it,
I was just going to argue that the only thing Noah really got right was the word heart. And the only thing I really got wrong was not using the word heart.
I would argue, what do we all know about Ukraine and take for granted? It is that there is a war there. So I wouldn't really say, I even alluded to it by saying I wanted to be sensitive. So I did include war in my answer.
No, you
Ben
didn't. You did not. You
mentioned
said you
war.
wanted to be sensitive.
all right, let's calm down. Each of you is getting a point because I have 2 more rounds and I do want to get through the game. So,
Okay.
so current score is Ben at 2, Noah at 1. Next is metformin. You may have heard of this medication. It belongs to a class of medications called anti-hyperglycemics or diabetes medications. What is going on with metformin, the sugar-reducing medication, Ben?
I think people are starting to use it in foods due to its sugar reducing properties as a way of, at least in their minds, creating sugar-free or sugar-reduced alternatives to food, i.e. they're putting it in foods that have a higher sugar content, like dessert items, sodas, whatever it may be, believing that it will be healthier because of the quote-unquote sugar-reducing property.
So are you saying it's like fluoride in the water?
Yes,
Okay.
putting chemicals in the water.
Noah, what do you think is going on with metformin, the anti-diabetes medication that lowers the sugars?
They have discovered that it also cures other things. It also can be used as a weight loss drug, similar to Ozempic or these drugs that are taking the world by storm. It's being used as a weight loss drug, but it isn't classified as that. You're not allowed to prescribe it for that. So there's a big black market for metformin because of these alternative health benefits that it can bring, but it's not FDA approved yet.
Okay. To recap, Ben said, integrated into the water. Just kidding. He said integrated into foods in an effort to make things healthier. Noah says also cures weight loss. I mean, cures weight loss. Also causes weight loss. Off-target effects. Not FDA approved yet. So again, to recap, metformin. Many people are on this medication. Many people have heard of this medication. Belongs to the oral biguanides. So it lowers sugars in the context of prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, polycystic ovarian syndrome, those sorts of things. Obesity-related osteoarthritis occurs in 365 million people worldwide, and a common cause of this is the excess weight bearing on joints, impaired metabolism of sugars leading to inflammation. A recent randomized controlled trial of 107 people, not 170, were investigated, and at 6 months, the pain difference of those on the metformin was statistically significant. The p-value is 0.01, which is quite good. So meaning the metformin reduced their pain of obesity-related osteoarthritis. Common adverse reactions were diarrhea and abdominal discomfort. So I think that Noah gets a point here.
I agree.
Okay. We're tied
Wow,
up at
just
2
like that,
apiece.
Ben? Really? Sweet.
I agree. We're tied up at 2 apiece into the final round. This one's my favorite one. I've been thinking about this one a lot ever since I wrote this. Who are we starting with? Noah, tell me what's going on with greenhouse gas emissions in the field of medicine.
In the field of medicine. Okay. So greenhouse gas emissions, as we all know, is bad. Am I right
Thanks,
so far? Okay, so it's bad. And in the field of medicine, they're finding that the increased greenhouse gas emissions in our atmosphere is causing our bodies to change. We as a humanity are evolving, constantly, slowly, but more quickly lately because of all the weird stuff in our food. Yeah, the 5G, the dyes in our food. The greenhouse gas emissions are causing they're why aren't our body temperatures rising? Like, isn't like our baseline body temperatures increasing like at a fairly significant rate?
That's not something I know off the top of my head.
Okay, so Michael confirms it. So I'm going to say that you heard it here first.
Not gonna lie.
Dr. Michael has confirmed this thing I heard on some weird podcast. I'm going to say, yeah, green. Okay, well, wait, I'm sticking with it. Okay, greenhouse gases are causing our body temperatures to rise as we adapt to the warming climate because our bodies are evolving, people.
All right, increased body temperature. All right, Ben, what do you think is going on with greenhouse gases?
What's the deal with greenhouse gases?
All right, walking.
That's a great question, Michael. And I really think we can't talk about greenhouse gases without also talking about the hole in the ozone layer. There is a hole, as Al Gore would say, in our layer.
And in the bottom of the sea.
And in the bottom of the sea. The ocean is on fire. But what is happening because of these greenhouse gases and because of the hole in the ozone layer is that there's been an uptick in skin cancers due to ultraviolet rays being less blocked as they enter our atmosphere. And even though the hole is only above the North Pole, they are still being reflected back by the ozone in other places around the world. So we're just one big ultraviolet orb giving people sunburn, man. Even cloud burn. Did you know you could get sunburned on your eyes? I didn't, but it's
Until
a
it
real
happened
thing.
to you.
Yeah.
I guess Michael can confirm that when he goes to Arizona and goes
So
outside.
It goes outside.
I think final answer is Al Gore invented the internet. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
No.
I'll write that down.
Do with that what you will.
Increase in skin cancers due to the ozone hole.
So we're tied up at 2-2. Noah says increased emissions are causing the human body to evolve with the increased body temperature, which is counterintuitive, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think our body temperature want to be lower given the whatever? And then Ben says there's a flea on a wing on a fly on a frog and a bump on a log in the hole in the bottom of the sea, or that Santa is going to get skin cancer from the hole that Al Gore invented. Now, the correct answer here is that inhalers are being found or have been established to be a big contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. In 2022, metered dose inhalers, metered dose, these are like the albuterol that you might think of that your friend Owen had in middle school, output an estimated 1.5 million metric tons of CO2, which is equivalent to the annual electricity of 300,000 homes. The people that wrote this article were talking about dry powder and soft mist inhalers because they do not have propellants, and their estimated output is 1 kilogram of CO2 emissions per inhaler, whereas the metered inhalers is almost 50. It's 48.1 kilograms of carbon dioxide. They pontificated on the cost and availability of these alternatives and raising awareness of these things. And the good news for you guys is I brought my own inhaler for you to try. Please take a
Through
whiff.
the internet, take a hit.
So what you're telling me is little 3-year-old to 10-year-old Noah did unspeakable horrors to the environment with all the inhalers I was shooting off every day.
Mm-hmm.
See, I had an inhaler, but I think I used it like a grand total of 3 times in my life.
Lucky.
Gosh, who gets a point here?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
My story was positive, and Ben's story was depressing, and I feel like your story was depressing. So there's that angle.
But Ben hasn't used as much metered dose inhaler, so he's killed the planet less, which I feel like is objectively good.
Can I just ask, this isn't me arguing, was your story necessarily positive, Noah? It was about body temperatures rising.
We're evolving. We're evolving. I don't know.
He has a point. Noah wins. Noah wins again. We're evolving. Congratulations.
Yes.
I need the win to offset all the carbon emissions that I've created by owning an inhaler most of my life.
That is fair. Well, congratulations, Noah. Do you have any parting words as our victor?
I wish I'd never taken the inhaler. I wish I'd. I don't know where I'd be. I do know where I'd be if I hadn't had an inhaler. I would not be here.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, congratulations, Noah, on winning. Michael, congratulations on preparing a great game and for graduating, as by the time this is aired, you will have graduated from medical school. So congratulations on that. And congratulations, me, for just being gosh darn present. Michael, do you have anything you would like to add before we go?
Yeah, I think we found out after the last show that I haven't won a game now in officially a year, which might be the longest streak of losing. I know Noah had a really long streak early in the podcast, but I hope to turn that around in 12 months when we come back to the show.
Exactly.
I do want to offer a shout out to Eric. I got to meet Eric finally, and Eric is a good friend of the show and a very faithful listener who is very attuned to details. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Eric and all associated listeners that may listen on behalf of Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
That's gonna make his whole day. Thank you, Eric.
Hashtag thank you, Eric.
Hashtag thank you, Eric.
Hashtag thank you, Eric. Well, thank you all, including Eric, for listening. And congratulations to you guys. We're all winners here at Noodles at Noon. So thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye!
All right, good show, everybody.
Be gone.